as an irony. An urban ending with a 32v32 would be absolute chaos.
Severny or Sarki?
Yeah, I'd take inside Severny. Around Severny, no thanks. But in the city, yes, please. Because I kind of feel like an urban breach.
Get with 15 USs.
Just make a giant line, or get a bunch of the get all the BIDMs out from the sky and just make a line of BIDMs.
Yeah, you might as well. Might as well. Russia, they have a little squad of players down towards Mills Power. They are somewhat isolated, so if Hungary is fast enough, they might be able to get themselves a little more than just the 1 kill advantage. Circle somewhat towards the center.
Yeah, the Russian team converged, particularly around the sort of the southern side of the map, trying to slowly group together towards that Potato Hill area. And I expect once again we're going to see that death track strategy where they sort of group up in like 10s, 15s. But they're starting to pick off these individual players as well. The drive-by coming in and a kill Ace is taken. I think it was actually... No, it was just the one. They grab an extra vehicle as well. They get that... they get rid of the man advantage. I mean, one man advantage is not massive, but they do at least make it even.
Chance should be surviving, but that right there was not... that wasn't it, Russia. That was not it.
And you said that we would get a bit of insight into who's going to win the game, unless it centers up. So what's the circle done? It's centered up. Both teams having pretty much 50-50 control.
I mean, they have as much space as they did before the circle popped, to be fair.
But this is where now we have 59 players in an area that in a squads game, you're normally looking like 45, 50 at most, usually by the end of phase 3. So like there's a lot of congestion. We see so many places now that have like 5 or 6 players in it at a minimum. And eventually we're going to see a bunch of like Hail Mary plays as people get forced out by the zone.
See, battle in. He knows though, or they might as well pop some tires. Actually, to be fair, vehicles could be the deciding factor on this one too. If they're forced to be running around in the open, that could be you going down. And as much as Balint wants to take out tires of the opponents, he wants to get back to his car as well. Try and see where he can go. But it's so difficult. I mean, as you can see, they're constantly looking towards their teammates. It's one of those when they're on your team, they will just have like a small blue dot. So it can be really hard to tell sometimes whether they're actually your teammates or not.
Yeah, and this way you have to be a little bit more reserved with your shooting. But it kind of gets easier when you're in these compounds until you get crashed, right? If you're in a compound with people that isn't on your little 8, your little platoon, I think is this called, and you start having people that don't have markers above their head, but are actually on your team, that's when you get those mistakes where you accidentally knock 2 or 3 of your own teammates in an enfilade. But it looks like for now, we're not really going to see that thing as we see the back of the baby's head this time. Looks quite comfy on that chair.
Yeah, it does. I wouldn't mind it. It's better than the chair that I have now.
Mine's not the best.
I mean, mine is a good gaming chair. I've just had it for too long and it's worn out. So
Mine is a bad gaming chair that I've had too long. So
doesn't minus plus minus or minus times minus give plus? I don't know. Let's see. Circle to decide it all, or circle to go center? No, this. Ooh, ow. Ooh. Now, did I say taking compounds could win you games in this area of the map?
I believe he did. And
I feel like that might end up proving to be true now. How does Hungary make it down this hill? I am very curious to see.
I'm going to make a very risky and bold prediction and say they don't. But it's possible. I don't think they do. But maybe if they can crash this eastern compound, there is a lot of... So that compound has a big wall around it that has that little scrapyard. And there's a lot of tree cover as well with the little ditches around at the eastern side of the map. If they can take control of that little compound, maybe there's a way in. Maybe there's a chance to get in. But Russia, it looks like they're now trying to take those engagements that we've seen them be so successful in the map before. And Leah's going for the jump shots.
See, yep, they know they're there, and they go, we don't want all the compounds inside the circle, we want the ones that are outside the circle too. They're sending it. Diaz finds the first. Prorix, the top fragger of last game, falls down. Trishas, though, is there to respond. Will they have enough, though? It seems like every single Russian player they kill, 2 more come around the corner.
Yeah, it's just a never-ending assault by the Russians, but they're slowly getting taken down. The Deep goes down. One of the Northern Lights players there getting out, and it's actually a 4-man advantage, soon to be 5 as the Deep gets finished off in Hungary's favour for now. And Elia being forced to hide in the house. He does have a teammate with him, but the coherence in the team play is not quite there right now, as they're sort of taking different gunfights. Kill field still fairly equal. That should be a pretty free kill there. Vanos with the flush. Vanos not with the flush. No, he gets it. I thought he was going to whiff the flush there, but he eventually gets it. And they're managing to keep that kill deficit pretty respectable. There's a lot of knocks coming in that presumably will get flushed out eventually. But for now, it's still a pretty even game.
At least in terms of numbers, but we got to take into account how massively favored this circle is for the Russian team. There's a saying that in Russia, you don't move to the circle moves to you. And I think that's the case here. Because I don't see where this one can shift towards that would actually favor the
You could get a northern hard shift, which would make this hill really strong.
Shift. Yeah, true, but they would still be able to push up to the foot of the hill and push up on foot.
Yep. But they did get that eastern compound. I said that, I wanted to see them swing on that and take control.
True,
and that's exactly what they've done. So now, like a northeastern shift, we'll just shift the balance of this game right back in their favor.
Yeah, they do have the numbers for now as well. So maybe, Silva did say that that Erangel is their map. We'll see if they can prove it to be. 4 seconds to go. Where are we headed? Who is going to get the benefit of the next shift? 50-50. I like it. We're forcing everyone out to the open, and there's no saying right now on who's going to get it.
Yeah, there's still those 2 main compounds on the eastern edge and sort of the southern side that are controlled one each at the minute. And those 2 positions are going to become vital, I think, for the rest of the game, and probably pretty congested as we see most people converge on the areas. But Russia does also have control of that western edge with the dip. But those are these individual Hungarian players that are starting to strike and starting to push that man advantage further in their favor. Boxbob with their insta-kill onto Senpai there. And if he can get 1 or 2 more, then that advantage is going to start getting 5, 6, maybe even 7 in favor of Hungary. Which, even though you'd probably favor Russia in straight-up 1v1s, if it's not 1v1s, then it sort of swings back in Hungary's favor.
Yeah, there is a chance. But where do you... we saw it actually, then again, going back to it, right? Batulin was popping tires in this exact area earlier. That's going to prevent some of these Hungarian players of making it down the hill, and the rest of them won't be inside the circle. They'll have to play the downhill. One's been seen behind the enemy lines. There are AWMs, a lot of ghillie suits. Just goes to show how how nice it is when every single crate gives you 3 full sets of weaponry.
Yeah, I think we saw a few of the flare guns go off earlier, so I think there's a lot of players with their arms. I think we just heard one land as well. But Danamon's starting to pick apart the Hungarian team. That man advantage we were talking about maybe going in favor of Hungary has pretty much disappeared. Yeah. Now, almost an even game, and there's a lot of red, white, and blue in the kill feed once again.
Did he just knock his teammate?
He did.
Yeah. I was thinking, where the hell could a Hungarian player see him from? And then I realized, nope, that was his teammate.
That's a unfortunate reality of the game mode. But now, I think every Hungarian player is in this compound.
They have to be. Yep, there's no one else anywhere else. It's
the camera flies over.
Time. If the next circle doesn't go, this is like being in one of those big cities in World of Warcraft, where everyone's looking to trade, looking for group, looking for trade. Is there a raid going on? Yep, all the bosses are outside the building. You might just want to go out and kill them now.
I'm going to say something that's going to disgust you, but I was a little bit too young for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I know. You weren't born when it was these times.
Yeah, I was watching it, but I never played it as a kid. I probably should have. But it's still, even the Observer computers are starting to struggle with the amount of players in this area. Look at Russia starting to take control of the of the wall now, and it's literally just going to be a shooting ground as all those Hungarian players are stuck.
Oh no!
There's grenades everywhere.
Grenades! What can you do if you're Hungary? Don't fight in the museum. Appreciate culture, goddammit.
Blowing up all the
artifacts.
All the PGI signs are getting destroyed right now. Russia's trying to find a way in. It's all red, white, and blue.
Oh no! The slaughter! It will forever go down as the slaughter of the museum. The car comes through as well.
Oh my God.
This is the worst.
I think more Russian players have gone down to Russian players than Hungarians right now. But there we go. Russia secures the win. 19-0. Not quite as dominant as game 1. But no. I think most of the reason was that because they started killing each other at the end accidentally.
I'll also just love, you can just tell they had one of those 3, 2, 1 YOLO, and they just sent it into the compound. It worked. Again, Smash Mouth strategy proves to work well for the Russian team, who now have a 2-0 lead, which means they will be headed into 3 match points in the upcoming games. And as we were saying at the beginning, I mean, the initial favor or the initial lead was in favor of the Hungarian team. It just didn't continue to be that way.
Yeah, we saw an initial like 5 or 6 man advantage towards Hungary, and they just weren't able to turn that into a win. Once again, they got trapped, right? I mean, the circle was a little bit favorable towards Russia, but there was no proactive behavior, right, from the Hungarian team. They all just sort of resigned themselves to the fate of going into the museum, and you know they all got inside and they all just clung on